Erin Patterson disputes evidence, including some from her children, a focus on why she let her children eat leftovers from a meal that ended up killing 3 people, and firm and repeated denials from Erin Patterson that she intended to murder her 3 lunch guests with death cap mushrooms. Erin Patterson has spent 8 days in the witness box as part of a triple murder trial. Here's how this week unfolded. Erin Patterson has said she fed her children leftovers of a beef Wellington meal she made. That Saturday lunch ended up poisoning all of her guests. All guests were hospitalised and 3 died because of death cap mushroom toxins. On day 7 of Erin Patterson's 8 days in the witness box, the prosecution honed in on the leftovers. Isn't it the fact that on Sunday the 30th of July you found out that at least Don and Gail were unwell, Dr. Nanette Rogers asked. Yes, I did find out about that, the mother of 2 answered. So why did you proceed to feed the same meal to your children when you knew or suspected that the meal that you'd served had made them ill? I didn't know or suspect that, she said. The court was then shown Erin Patterson's son's police interview, where he tells police his mother told him his grandparents were unwell and she suspected the Saturday lunch was the cause. I think he's confused. I didn't say that to him on the Sunday, Erin Patterson said. She also said she was sick after the lunch, suffering diarrhoea, but she says she scraped off the mushrooms and pastry before giving the lunch leftovers to her children. The prosecution also asked why she resisted requests from medical staff to bring her children to hospital. Erin Patterson said, because they don't have symptoms. The issue was mushrooms and they had not eaten the mushrooms. I suggest that you would have wanted them to have immediate medical attention, Dr. Rogers told the court. The prosecution suggesting Erin Patterson was reluctant because she knew they had never actually eaten leftovers from the lunch and their lives were not at risk. Incorrect, she replied. Erin Patterson also disputes some evidence from the sole surviving guest of the meal, Ian Wilkinson. The pastor said at the lunch all guests were served individual beef Wellingtons on grey plates, but Erin Patterson had a smaller orange plate. Erin Patterson said that's not true and instead there were white, black and red and black plates. This week the prosecution asked, do you say that Ian Wilkinson has given incorrect evidence around the issue of the plates? Yes, I do, Erin Patterson said. Then later, I suggest that after you had plated the food, you carried the smaller plate over to the dining table for yourself. Agree or disagree? There was no smaller plate, Erin responded. I suggest that you knowingly served death cap mushrooms in the 4 separate beef Wellingtons you served up to your 4 lunch guests. Incorrect, she replied. Erin Patterson says most of the mushrooms in the meal were bought from the supermarket, but that for extra flavour, she added dehydrated mushrooms she had in a Tupperware container bought months ago from an Asian grocer. But she's conceded that she may have stored foraged mushrooms in the same container and they could have found their way into the meal. Erin Patterson says she'd become interested in foraging for wild mushrooms during the pandemic, but Dr. Rogers pointed out her son had told police he'd never been aware of his mother picking mushrooms. I suggest that your son never knew you to go foraging because foraging for non-toxic mushrooms was not something you did. Disagree, she responded. Erin Patterson told the court she never woke up and said, I'm going mushroom picking. Instead, she went picking them while going on walks, something she said her children had seen her do. Erin Patterson also denied visiting the citizen scientist website iNaturalist, which featured posts with the location of poisonous mushrooms despite search history evidence. I don't remember ever visiting iNaturalist. I suggest you were familiar with the iNaturalist website before this date because you entered iNaturalist as the specific search term. Agree or disagree? I would have to disagree. Did you have an interest in death cap mushrooms on the 28th of May 2022? I have no idea, Ms Patterson said. My only interest ever was to find out if they were in South Gippsland or not. During the lunch, Erin Patterson says she led her guests to believe she might need treatment for ovarian cancer, but she said she did it as a lie to cover for planned gastric bypass surgery. She told the jury she had an appointment at the Enrich Clinic in Melbourne for the procedure. But this week, the prosecution revealed the clinic does not offer gastric bypass surgery or pre-surgery appointments related to it, that Erin Patterson never obtained a referral to a specialist for the procedure. Yes, I never got anything like that from a GP. No, Ms Patterson said. Her defence barrister Colin Mandiesi said the clinic appeared to offer liposuction in 2023, and Ms Patterson told the court she was investigating this procedure. Erin Patterson remained mainly calm during the days of questioning and cross-examination, but her voice became emotional at times, including when questioned about why, after the meal, she drove her son from Leongatha to Tyabb, an hour away, for flying lessons despite saying she had diarrhoea. He was really passionate about it, and he's had a lot of cancelled lessons, and I just didn't want to disappoint him, Erin Patterson said. Erin Patterson has now finished giving evidence, but the trial goes into an 8th week next week for closing arguments and final instructions before the jury begins to deliberate and reach a verdict.